149 of Uncensored. I am your host, Keith Andrew. Along here is Danny Coleman. I just want to say thank you for being a guest in my talk show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, for people who want to know what Uncensored is, Uncensored's my way of showing people that even if we're in disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there deaf, blind, or in a wheelchair, that you should never label yourself or have people label you, and you should prove to them you can still mount to something no matter what. And that's the whole point of my talk show, and thanks to you, we're up to Season 2, Episode 149. And what can you tell us about yourself? Well, I saw from your profile that you're an owner of your own company and you have your own talk show. So what can you tell us about that?
I'm the host of a radio program called Rock On Radio, where I feature independent bands and solo artists and entertainers and performers, and I give them a 2-hour talk music format to showcase their talents.
That's pretty awesome. Well, like, what talent have you worked with, and what talent do you want to work with?
Well, I work with musicians mostly. I have had comedians and actors, actresses, authors. I've had just an array of various people, but yeah, I'd like to work with some larger, more established artists, but for now, the indie artists for almost 6 years have served me very well. I'm a musician myself, so I can relate to all of the guests that I have on my program.
What instrument do you play?
I play the drums, and I also do Latin percussion. Congas, bongos, hand percussion, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for a long time, 30-some years.
What got you interested in the whole music background?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't know. I just, when I was a kid, I saw a drummer at my cousin's wedding. I was about 11 years old, and I fell in love with the instrument and just started playing the drums.
All right. Now, for one fellow New Yorker to another, how you dealing with the snow outside?
It's not too bad down here. I'm actually in southern New Jersey, pretty southern central New Jersey, just outside the state capital of Trenton. So it's pretty. So far, it hasn't really snowed that hard.
Luckily. Now, have you ever been to Woodbury Commons?
No, I have not.
I'm more near the West Point. So
okay.
That's about like an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes from the city.
Okay.
So most part, they're talking about a foot, but in the city, they're gonna get the shit knocked out of them. Long Island is supposed to get up to about 2 or 3 feet.
Yeah, they're saying about 14 inches down here, 8 to 14 inches, but who knows? Probably get nothing.
Now, it's funny you should mention that. You've probably seen this too when you go into like Target or ShopRite or any store. Every time someone mentions the word storm, people just panic like sheep. They just flock to the place and they make it like it's the end of the world. And when it happens, false alarm.
Yeah, it's happened more than once. Yet everybody does it.
That's true.
Not me. I protest.
What do you mean by that?
I go to the liquor store.
That's not a bad idea, anyway.
See? That's right.
I know people that during earthquakes they used to get high. It's like, just wake me up when the earthquake's over. No, I mentioned that on your talk show, I passed the idea to you. Maybe I could be a guest, but would that be a possibility, or just because I'm not like a big name star, I don't play any instruments?
I don't have big name star. I've had big name larger name stars, musicians, I've had them contact my show or even come on my show. But my show is mostly it is a music thing type of deal. I don't turn anybody away. I can have you call and discuss what your show is about for several minutes. I don't know if I could dedicate an entire 2 hours since you're not music-based, but
right.
There's always room for everybody.
Yeah, if we're able to work something out, I appreciate it.
I know you bet that.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, how did you get started with your studio, and where do you think your studio will be in the next year or so?
I got started because I had a back injury, and I used to be a driver for United Parcel Service. Yep, I was a UPS guy, and woke up one morning, I couldn't move. I had disc herniations, multiple disc herniations. I had blood in my spine. Consequently, I lost my job because I couldn't do it any longer. So I revisited radio broadcasting. Came across an ad on Craigslist, of all places, and pitched the idea to a local AM radio station here in Burlington County, and they bought it, and Rock On Radio was born. So, the cat.
Sorry about
Rock On Radio was born. So, now I'm strictly internet. I left the terrestrial radio station about 3 years ago. I'm carried by four internet outlets live, and I'm re-aired on 10 additional ones in the UK, Canada, and here in the United States. A year from now, who knows? I just switched stations for a third time. From the AM station, I went to one of my affiliates. Was there for a few years, but they were changing some things up, so I left. And just last month, excuse me, just last month I began broadcasting from 40 Foothold Studios which is out of Lanoka Harbor, which is down near Forked River, New Jersey, along the Jersey coast, not that far from Long Beach Island, if anybody's familiar with Long Beach Island. So I started broadcasting from down there. He has huge, my show can grow by leaps and bounds. Superior audio quality, video stream, live video feed, so you can not only listen to the program, but you can only watch it as well. And remote capabilities. Just last night we did my show from a local Irish pub. So there's 3 ways my show can grow, and hopefully it'll continue to get bigger and better.
Now, do you now this is time for me to do the plug. Are you a big fan of social media, and do you think social media is another way to expand your brand that you're working on, or do you think you have to actually meet the person in the company to extend your fan base?
Well, I'm kind of old-fashioned that way. I really think it's best to make contact, whether it's like you and I are doing now or in person, preferably in person. But you can't deny the role that social media plays in business today. Everywhere I go during the day, all I do is hear people talking about, well, he posted this and she's put that, and blah, blah, blah. Posted, put on what? I mean, Facebook just dominates conversations. So I really don't get too personal. Even on my personal page, I don't get personal with my posts here and there. I use it strictly as a marketing tool to get my show out there. I've built my radio show up through grassroots, Facebook, Twitter, emails, things of that nature. I've really taken no big advertising out. I've been very fortunate to have multiple multiple articles written about my program. People were interested. I've been nominated for 4 Asbury Park Music Awards. So the show has kind of taken on a life of its own, and it's all been through grassroots social media. So as old school as I am about liking to meet and talk to people, I understand the role that it plays in the success or failure, as it may be, of an entity like mine, like Rock On Radio.
Well, failure is not an option for someone like you and me.
That's right. Yeah, well, I've been at it for almost 6 years, so correct. I mean, you can't. As soon as you give up hope or stop trying, that's when you're failing. So
that's true. Now, you mentioned grassroots social media. I never heard about. What can you tell us and our listeners about that?
Well, grassroots is done things like word of mouth, holding small gatherings, meeting, putting the word out there, hoping. There used to be an old commercial years ago for a shampoo. I can't remember what brand it was. It might have been Prel shampoo or something like that. I'll tell 2 friends, and so on, and so on, and so on. And it just grows through from the ground up. That's why it's called grassroots, because you don't really take out. I have no big media backing. I have no big sponsors. But yet, my Facebook page continues to garner, anywhere from 10 to 20-some new likes a week. People are paying attention to what I'm doing because I continue to put the word out there. And most of that's through social media, so. Plus, I go to a lot of open mics and meet musicians, and when they come on my program, I send them a recording of the show so that they have it. And I always try to create a really positive vibe, a positive feeling. I have yet to. There's been only maybe 1 or 2 exceptions in 6 years where people did not say to me, "Thank you. You made me feel very comfortable. I was really relaxing. This was a great opportunity. I appreciate it." So, if they're walking away happy, they're telling people about it.
Right.
They're posting on Facebook. So, yeah. It's I tell you, you tell somebody else, and it just keeps snowballing.
Now, for people who want to follow you on Twitter, what's your Twitter handle and Facebook?
I do have a Twitter account. It is Rock On Radio, all one word, all capital letters. Rock On Radio. My Facebook page is Danny Coleman's Rock On Radio 2, the number 2. When I left the AM radio station down in Burlington, what happened there was I was there for about 2.5 years, and they decided to, excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold.
Not a problem.
They decided to take the station back to a gospel format. And my show just didn't fit the programming, so that's why I went strictly internet. And then I had to switch Facebook. I had to start all over again because Facebook wouldn't allow you to carry over your change the name unless you closed out the account and reopened it. So I had to do that. Now it's Danny Coleman's Rock On Radio 2, the number 2 on Facebook, if anybody wants to look me up. The show airs Sunday nights at 10 p.m. on 40footholestudio.com. And then 3 other outlets, gashouseradio.com, thepenguinrocks.com, and z108.net.
Well, you should try what I'm doing. You should try to do like a YouTube video. Do like a live video. Yeah.
I've got the stream from the show, so people can look up the stream on there we go. Excuse me. On SoundCloud, on if you go to 40 Foot Hole Studio, all the links are there. 40footholestudio.com, and you can watch a replay of the show. You can hear the show and see what I do.
All right. I got people when I call them my demo interviews. That's what I call all my early work. And basically, it was just a blank screen and it's audio. and I came up with 72 of those demos. And it still gets me. People say, oh, you have this great format. Why aren't you as big or link bigger than you portray yourself to be? Why don't you have sponsors? Well, and I say, okay, that's great. Would you like to help me with that? No. If you can't do it yourself, then it's not meant to be. And I said, and it is uncensored. I said, screw it. And I said, fuck it. I said, I'm going to do it my way. And this is what I came up with. And, same thing. What is your demographics? What is do you cater to the males, females, blacks, whites, Asians? I said, that shit doesn't matter to me. It's not important. All what matters is people watch my show, they like it, and the numbers go up. The whites, blacks, Asians, cater to the males, females. It doesn't matter. That shit doesn't matter to me. All that matters is people like my message, they're supporting me and what I'm doing, and we're taking it one step at a time. Instead of people just shoveling all this on me all at once, and I just break it down because, I do have social anxiety, and just one reason I do the show is to help me get over panic attacks and social anxiety and interact with people, among other reasons. And, I just don't do that other stuff. Well, if you think about your demographic and your numbers, you gotta make yourself crazy. So, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, but I'm just doing a good deed. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah, as long as whatever the message is you get out there is the one that you want to get out there, that's all that matters. See, for me, it's about helping other musicians. I mean, I was a 16-year-old kid, and I was at a local church carnival, and my band had submitted some tracks to a local FM radio station. And I was standing, hanging with my friends, and all of a sudden this young girl come up and she grabs my arm. She goes, listen. What? What do you... Listen. She pulls me over to one of the Wheels of Chance, and somebody had a radio blaring, and there was my band playing on the radio. And I remember getting goosebumps. I was thrilled. I was a 16-year-old kid. We'd gone in the studio at the age of 15, a recording studio, for the first time, and it was being played on the radio. And I remember that thrill, and I thought to myself, if I can give that to other bands, I'm going to go for it. And I've had artists on my program as young as 12 and as old as 74 years old. I don't discriminate when it comes to music or talent. I've had women, I've had men, I've had blacks, I've had whites, I've had Asians. It doesn't matter. If you're a musician, music transcends all races, creeds, and colors.
That's true.
It doesn't matter. It's not like you say, I'm not going to listen to that person because I don't like the color of their skin or their religion or this, that, or the other thing. So that's how I carry it too. It's my way or... I like to bring it to the masses. New talent. I get great pride out of watching some of the young kids that I had on my program. They came to me. They were 14, 15 years old. Now they're 19, 20, 21 years old. They're on The Voice. They're on movie soundtracks. And these people have been on my show, and it's just good to watch them grow and to know that I played a part in that somehow. And a young artist came to me and she says, Danny, I need a favor. I said, what's that? She says, I need you to sign this release form because I'm going to be on The Voice, and I want to use some footage, and you're in it, so I have to have you sign it. And I was, wow, good for you, honey. Boom. Anytime. It's you. So it's very rewarding, actually. It's very rewarding. And I've had some, as I said, some bigger names call my program, too. The first drummer of the E Street Band, Vinny Lopez, the Mad Dog. He's been on my program several times. Liberty DeVito, who played drums for Billy Joel for 30 years, has called my program. Peter Tork of the Monkees, John Oates of Hall & Oates have called my program. Graham Parker, XM disc jockey Michael Tierson, who was a Philadelphia legendary disc jockey for 30 years, has been on called my program. Cindy Drew, another Philly legendary disc jockey, she's actually appeared on my program. Yeah, just last night I had 4 drummers on my program, and all 4 have played with everybody from I mean, one of them's in a recording studio now, recording with, like, Nora Jones. So, you know.
You okay?
I'm sorry. It's nice to know that I've built up my connections, and I'm able to help those who are established and trying to get themselves established. There have been a half a dozen bands formed just from my Christmas show that I have every year. Musicians meeting each other for the first time, and they wind up forming a band together. Yeah, it's really rewarding when stuff like that happens, you know?
Well, if you're okay with it, I would love to work with you. If you want to advertise me, advertise you. You know, you don't even have to pay me. You know, it's just a friendship out of it. You help me, I help you.
I help everybody, my friend. So sure, I'll mention you. That's not a problem.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, with everything going on in the media, you know, we're back on the media, do you talk about politics, or do you just, like, when you keep it to music, do you, like, talk about serious stuff, and then you keep it to rock and roll, or do you do a little bit of both?
I do not discuss politics, religion, or anything of that, or anything of a private nature on my program. I have one little speech, takes all of about 5 minutes. I do not discuss religion, politics. I will not ask my guests anything personal. Any information they divulge is strictly on them. I don't care if they're married. I don't care if they have a day job. I don't care if they're gay, straight, or lesbian. I don't care what they do with their boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. I've heard shows where the show host has almost borderline badgered the guest about their personal life. Well, how come what about this one? What about... No, I'm here to discuss music, your career. I want people to get to know the artist for who they are and what they do musically, so that they can either sell an extra couple of CDs or have an extra couple of fans at a show the next time they play. That's what it's about for me. I have one rule on my program, and even though it's internet radio, the one rule I have is no foul language. I present a clean show. I want my kids or my neighbor's kids or the artist's grandchildren, as it has been in some cases, I want them to be able to hear the program.
So I guess
be able to listen to it.
So I guess you wouldn't be recommending me then, right?
It's not a matter of recommendation. That's your show. That's the way you want to conduct it. That's fine. I had another radio show that I used to do with my very first co-host on Rock On Radio that I left about 6 months ago because it had gotten to the point where the show had become... I was losing friends, let's put it that way, because it was just becoming too foul for a lot of people to listen to. I had somebody unfriend me because I was associated with that show, and I wasn't even there the night that she got offended. I had the night off. My daughter had an award ceremony at school. So, I do have my own standards. I'm not saying that that's better than or higher than anybody else's. What I'm saying is they're mine, and I adhere to them. If you want to stay on your show and drop F-bombs and this, that, and the other thing, that's your prerogative. That's your show. Good luck. Yeah, that's just not my style.
Well, on the subject, I don't do it like every single 5 minutes or every episode. Maybe once in a while, if I'm very passionate, I say the F word. But yeah, I don't say the C word, I don't mention the N word, I don't go on a whole big tangents or anything, but occasionally, once or twice, I may use the F word. That's why it's uncensored, and I have a description that plays in the beginning of the video, S for strong language and U for uncensored. And the other thing I was going to say to you, a lot of people say about your fan base, if you gain big name stars, like, hypothetically, if you got someone like from Rush on your talk show, that would be wonderful, or Kiss, and I would love that too. But recently, I called a company today, and I heard from a woman who I'm trying to create a partnership with, say from one of her clients, what is your fan base? And I was like, oh no, well, how many followers do you have? Oh, well, it's starting to go up there. It's, I guess, 78 right now. It's slowly moving. That's not good enough. Come back to us when you have 1,000 or 2,000. And it's like, well, part of, I have a learning disability, and I'm trying to exceed and trying to show out. Come back when I have 1,000 people. Who the hell is gonna get 1,000 people? I'm not gonna get 1,000 people. That's ridiculous.
Well, there's your problem right there, my friend. That should not be in your vocabulary. I am not going to. I got over 1,000. I got almost 1,200 likes on my Facebook page. Actually, I was speaking with a vice president of programming at SiriusXM. And he told me that's what it's all about. YouTube views and Facebook likes. If you only have 78 Facebook likes, they're not going to look at you. You start hitting 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, they're going to look at you because, oh, what's this product? Enough people are tuning in. Let's see what this is all about. That's like that girl who made that song about Fridays.
Right, I remember.
Hate Friday, or I Love Friday, or whatever it was, the terrible vocal track, but she had 130 million YouTube views or whatever it was. Boom, next thing you know, she's a star. So, it's never say never.
That's true. But
remember, I had to start from the beginning when I switched Facebook pages. Otherwise, I'd have over 2,000, but I've only got about 1,200 right now, so...
Man, that's more than what I have.
You just work at it. You work at it. You invite friends to like your page. You put blurbs out on your Facebook page or your Twitter account or something. If every day, if you pick up one like, it's 365 a year.
That's true. It's just frustrating after a while because, I have this great thing, and you would agree, if I'm doing this great thing about it, it comes down to money. And this last person, who's a former wrestler, and it's Facebook, I didn't really take him seriously. He wanted me to pay him, and I said, give me $50. I said, no, it's a half hour, I give you 30. Okay, $30. As long as I'm being paid, that's all that matters. Before I give you any money, I want to talk to you on the phone, or I want to see your face. I want to make sure this is really, and this is why I don't usually use Facebook, because you don't know who you're talking to. That's why I usually use LinkedIn. And again, what's on LinkedIn, people lie about their ages too. I get that too, a couple meds. But, it's good to do this, because you're upfront with me, I'm upfront with you, it's professional. Just hiding behind a computer screen, you have no idea who you're talking to. And the reason I mentioned LinkedIn is when I did my demo videos in the very beginning, I came across this woman, a black girl, and she said she was 21 and she was in the city. And most of that was true. Yes, she was a young black girl and she was from the city, but she wasn't 21. She was 15. And I said, I'm not going to get arrested or put my show in jeopardy just because I don't need people to say, why is he interviewing this 15-year-old? That's kind of creepy. And it's kind of like I said, you interviewed 12 years old, and in 12, that's fine. I'm not knocking you or anything. But for 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old, 21 years old, 22 years old, 23 years old, 24 years old, 25 years old, 26 years old, 27 years old, 28 years old, 29 years old, 30 years old, 31 years old, 32 years old, 33 years old, 34 years old, 35 years old, 36 years old, 37 years old, 38 years old, 39 years old, 40 years old, 41 years old, 42 years old, 43 years old, 44 years old, 45 years old, 46 years old, 47 years old, 48 years old, 49 years old, 50 years old, 51 years old, 52 years old, 53 years old, 54 years old, 55 years old, 56 years old, 57 years old, 58 years old, 59 years o someone in my case, I know people are gonna misinterpret that and just take advantage of that.
See, with me, the 12-year-old, she was a 12-year-old girl, actually. And of course, she brought her parents along with her.
Right.
You know, I would insist on that. Today's world is too lawsuit happy, too dangerous. You know, you don't want to set yourself up there. You always have to cover yourself. So.
That's true. Now, wrapping up, do you have any funny stories you would like to share, or any funny pranks that you pulled on people, on air, off air?
You know, I've never pulled pranks on people on or off air. I'm not much of a prankster, actually. Funny stories, I got tons of them. I mean, we don't have enough time, my friend. But, you know, some of my favorite stories that the artists come in and tell are the ones that... they're the ones that the artists tell me about their experiences. Like, one woman was in and she said how years ago, before cell phones were in existence, they were taking a tour, East Coast tour, and they were working their way down to Florida. They stopped at a rest stop in in Georgia. The bass player was asleep in the back of the van. So they all went up, they went in, they got gas, they were in a convenience store. Unknown to them, the bass player had woken up, went around the side of the building to use the bathroom. They got back in the van, everybody gets in, they leave. About 5 hours later, they look back there. The bass player's not there. They left him at the rest stop in Georgia. Here they were, all the way down to halfway down to like Orlando by this time. They had to drive back and get him. Again, there were no cell phones. He couldn't just call them and say, "Hey," you know. So, I mean, stuff like that. It's kind of funny when they tell stories on air, you know. But I mean, being a musician, I've had some crazy stuff happen to me too over the years. People are strange when you put just the right amount of alcohol in them in a dance room environment. Sometimes it's a lot of fun.
I remember one funny story. My parents were watching this horror movie. I don't remember what it is, but my sister took my balloon. We went to the mall that day, and I got a balloon from this guy. And it was like a dog balloon or something. It was just something. And she said, "I'm going to play a trick on Mom and Dad. Watch this." And we snuck up behind them. And there's a part where the guy jumps out and stabs the couple. And my parents knew about the scene. My sister waited for that exact time. As soon as the guy came out, the guy appeared. My sister popped the balloon. My parents jumped out of the chair and just wanted to beat the crap out of her. It's like, "What are you trying to do? Give us a heart attack?"
Well, there you go. See, funny kid pranks.
That's true. Well, wrapping up, do you have anything you want to say to your fans and listeners?
No, you know, I thank you, first of all, for having an interest in me and my program. I greatly appreciate it. I think Sunday nights at 10 o'clock, if everybody would tune in and give a listen. This Sunday night, right after the Super Bowl, we'll be live. I'm not sure who my guest is going to be this week, because Super Bowl Sunday is usually tough to get people to want to commit, because they all go to parties and things of that nature. But usually I have no problem. It's usually, actually, believe it or not, my most listened to program, because everybody's already home or they're on their way home and they listen on their smartphones, you know, to my show because there's a lot of people gathered in one spot. So I'm not sure who the guest will be, but 10 o'clock this Sunday night, 10 o'clock, 40footholestudio.com.